Nah, those stats, they're just straight up legendary and huge. That we have really good on the speed, really good on special attack, and amazing on that special defense. The attack is whatever because it doesn't really matter. Defense is still pretty solid, and we have a decent amount of hit points. So Latios, you know, legendary stats. That's where we are in the Pokedex. We're near the end. We're going to start seeing some really cool stuff, and that does carry over really well. Looking at its typing, Dragon Psychic typing. Really vulnerable typing. But when you're a sweeper, kind of doesn't matter. But when we look at it, 6 weaknesses. So Dragon, Ice, Dark, Fairy, Ghost, and Bug. Some of those common, but overall you're just going to try not to get hit and try to blow up your opponent first. And even then we do get some resistances and an immunity from our Levitate ability, so it's going to work out pretty well. Hopping into Pokemon Showdown, we're going to see that Latios, and pretty much Latios as well, they run a main core. That's going to be 3 offensive moves and then your main gimmick. Now, if you don't have access to Hidden Power Fire, you can use Energy Ball. You really have like a lot of time to invest into a really good Latios or Latios. Hidden Power Fire is pretty much the best option on top of all this. Then after that, you want to run your stab moves. Psyshock is going to make it to where it can't be specially walled. Draco Meteor is going to be a monstrous amount of damage with some potential like follow-up options. And then Hidden Power Fire, again, just your main nuke that you can try to get for. And that 4th move is going to be a gimmick that kind of relies on your item. With this, you have Choice Scarf trick options. So you can come in, just use Draco Meteor for the monstrous damage, or you can try to trick out a Pokemon that's a setup Pokemon. You have the potential to kind of remove a Pokemon from the game if you Choice Scarf trick it right. And then you can still kind of look at your other options. That with the Choice Scarf, you can run Modest, so you're maximizing your damage while getting all those other things across. But when you look at the other sets, you have to run Timid. Timid is going to give you a good amount of outspeeds, and with the Life Orb, you're just going to make up for the damage lost by not being Modest. You do take the health burn from Life Orb, but it does kind of pay off in the end. So after this, you're kind of looking, okay, outspeed Psyshock, outspeed Draco Meteor. Are they setting up? I'll set up as well with Calm Mind. And this is kind of like, if you're not running Scarf, and you can't get Hidden Power Fire, you can also use Calm Mind as an option. That way you're at least getting your stab across, you have a lot of damage potential. That Calm Mind with the Life Orb boosted Draco Meteor, that's a KO. You have some neutral KO potential with the Psyshock or Psychic as well. If you want the more damage, you can always just put down Psychic. But Psyshock, a lot of people personally like it as tech. It goes either way depending on what your team needs and what you're really concerned about. Now Calm Mind, that's damage. And Healing Wish. Healing Wish is interesting because Latios and Latios each have a signature move. That Latios is going to have Healing Wish, Latios is going to have Memento, and with this, you know, Timid Nature. You use Psychic, you use Draco Meteor, you know, you have lowered stats, but you've done a lot of damage. You potentially scored KOs, but Life Orb Burn, taking damage from the opponent, leaves you at low health. Well, then you can just use Healing Wish, and now Latios becomes a super support Pokemon. It faints, but it fully heals the next Pokemon to come in, which is amazing. So now Latios gets a +1 on a kill, or like goes even on a kill, and then it gets its extra benefit from doing extra damage, but making a sweeper Pokemon, you know, refreshes status so you can get Will-O-Wisp off of a physical attacker, and you can also just get a lot of things going for you that way. I was also thinking about a double support Latios, that you can invest into the hit points and special attack, use Tailwind, and then now you have options from there. Draco Meteor for the damage, Heal Pulse for the support, and Psyshock for the coverage and damage. And I mean, it's really nice that you can run maybe Life Orb on this, that way your Draco Meteor has KO potential. You can run Citrus Berry, Leftovers, that way you can stay in longer. You can swap out Psyshock for even Protect, and just be like this huge gamble Pokemon. Throughout the Tailwind, throughout the Draco Meteor, use Heal Pulse. Throughout the Draco Meteor, that's when you faint, you've already done enough work to kind of be very supportive. And I really like the idea of this set, that, you know, even back-to-back Draco Meteors can still be a KO on a single target. So it's not the worst thing, and then you can always switch out if you find the options. So it can work out well, and also you still have Healing Wish too. So under that Tailwind boost, you Healing Wish, and you're going to actually be really nice. And since it applies at the end of the turn, the Pokemon coming in isn't going to be hit in any way. So it's a fresh start. Some other things, you know, you have Roost, Calm Mind. If you want to be like defensive tank, you have a good special defense, high hit points, and you just want to be a slightly slower Pokemon, that way Calm Mind, Psyshock, Dragon Pulse, Roost, that's going to be nasty. That if you get 2 Calm Minds, your defense is high, your hit point invested, and there's a lot of damage. And if for some reason you're in a battle where Soldew is legal, use it. That's a free Calm Mind on entry, so that's amazing right there. That special attack and special defense boost 1.5 times, then you just use the Calm Mind to get another 1.5 times on it, and now you're dealing with some very scary stats really quick. If you don't have access to Soldew, Leftovers works, or you can also have a Citrus Berry, just something to help with the setup, and you're good to go. Now Soldew, not allowed on VGC, not allowed on rated battle spot, but like I said, if you find a battle where it's allowed, use it, and you're going to be rewarded really well. Now, I also mentioned in the title of the guide that we talk about Latias Mega. Well, Mega Latias, I feel that's going to be most optimized with the hit points, with the defense, running on that calm mindset, just like regular Latias. You're going to be giving up your item slot, but you're getting more defenses. I mean, look at this. We jumped from 90 to 120 and 130 to 150. So it's kind of like spreading up the Soldu's benefit. You're getting a whole lot of damage and durability. So I mean, with this, you can just kind of use Psyshock, use Dragon Pulse, and you're going to be really good. The reason why I'm thinking if you're Mega Evolving Latias, you might as well just go with the defensive stats, because if you went with Latios, Latios has more special attack. It gets more benefit from that Mega Evolution on offensive scale, so you might as well play Latios defensively. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and that's how you use Latios and Mega Latios. Latios coming up next. Welcome back, Wolfpack Verlis here, and this is how to use Latios. Now, since we just looked at Latios, we can kind of compare the stats, and Latios pretty much flips the defenses and offenses. That's 130 in the special attack, 90 on the attack, 80 on the defense, and 110 on the special defense, with that 110 speed and the 80 hit points. So Latios is still fairly fast, higher on the special attack, good special defense, and some defensive durability as well. So Latios, it's going to be that offensive variant, most likely when you think about it, but you can still do a lot of things. Looking at its typing, Dragon Psychic again, a lot of weaknesses, a couple of resistances that kind of go hand in hand with it, and overall it's just going to be a Pokemon that you're playing that sweepy game. You don't want to get hit. Hopping into Pokemon Showdown, we can just kind of look Life Orb, again, that you want to use Life Orb with that Timid Nature, Calm Mind, in your 3 offensive moves. That's going to be your main thing. That Draco Meteor, huge damage, Psyshock, good amount of stab coverage that gives you that defensive, doesn't let you get defensively walled, and Hidden Power Fire. Hidden Power Fire, it's going to break through Ferrothorn, going to break through Scizor, and it's just going to be a good option to have. If you can't get it, you can still see Energy Ball on this Pokemon. Energy Ball does provide its own little niche of coverage, but with Ferrothorn being more popular, people like running the Hidden Power Fire. Then you have Calm Mind. Calm Mind, it's like, oh, you're going to set up, or you can like force a switch on your opponent. Calm Mind, now they're in trouble because they have to outspeed that 110 speed and then just keep going with it from there. That also you're looking at with the special attack, 358 special attack is going to be very nice nature while being fast on that 110 speed. So I mean, Life Orb into Draco Meteor, that has a lot of neutral KO potential. Calm Mind and Psyshock, Energy Ball also has some KO potential. So Latios works out really well offensively. Now, Latios' other thing is that it has Memento instead of Healing Wish. That lowers the target's attack and special attack by 2, but causes you to faint. You just want to use it when you're on your last leg. If you're on the back foot, you're like, oh, I'm going to go down. Might as well throw out Memento. It'll at least force a switch on them, or it gives you a chance to set up on a different Pokemon. So, like, you can kind of Choice Scarf Draco Meteor. If you find a chance to trick your Choice Scarf away, that's when you throw out the Memento. And that's really all there is to it. You know, it's going to be similar to Latios, that you can go for those outspeeds, try to force those switches, or just play that hard, stay in offensive game and try to just blow someone up. And then we just have to mention Soldu on Latios really quick, that it's going to be the same thing, that instead of Life Orb, if Soldu is allowed, whatever format you're playing in, you throw down the Soldu, it's going to be a free Calm Mind, and then just terrible things happen. With the Soldu, you could probably get away with Memento on this set a lot easier, and it's like having choice specs without being locked into a move and having extra special defense, so you can actually switch in and absorb a not super effective hit if you get the prediction right. Now, Mega Latios, fairly interesting because you think of it as an outright attacker, but what I was thinking is that, say if we're like, we can't go Modest Nature, you have to be timid, you don't want to risk being outsped by more Pokemon than you need to be, so you're only at 419. Still very high, but that's not going to find you those KOs with Psyshock and Dragon Pulse, that you're going to be really short on damage on a lot of neutral hits. So my thought is, well, we invest in the hit points. That 100 defense, 120 special defense on the 80 hit point investment, that's a 2-3 hit KO Pokemon, which means Calm Mind, and now you sweep. Now anything that's slower than that 350, you're going to have very high KO potential on if it doesn't resist. Psyshock, Dragon Pulse, and if you go up against a tankier Pokemon, that's why we're packing the Roost. I like Roost as an option. You get to set up more Calm Minds, you get to out-roost them, you get to get, you know, some form of sustain, and then you blow them up, and then their follow-up Pokemon is going to be in trouble. If you're at +2, +3 Calm Mind, decent amount of health from the Roost, Psyshock, Dragon Pulse coveraging you out really well, it's going to be solid. Now, there is another kind of Latios you can run, because you think Latios offensively, but you can still run it as a really interesting support. That what I like about it, Reflect Light Screen. You can primarily do this in singles, and it's going to be maxing out that speed on the Timid Nature, maxing out the hit points, so now it's like you have that speed priority. You're going to outspeed your opponent, throw down Reflect. That if they're a physical Pokemon, Reflect. If they're special, use Light Screen, which means you're going to endure that hit really well, which lets you set up the other screen. After that, depending on how much damage you've taken, you can throw out the Draco Meteor, or you can just go straight to the Memento. Memento is like really awesome on the supportive aspect because you can kind of lead with the set. Lowers your target's attack and special attack, we already talked about it. So now you have halved offensive or special attack damage. That's just free setup on any Pokemon you want with the Draco Meteor damage already being down. Light Clay means that those Reflect and Light Screen are going to be out for 8 turns, and people might think, oh no, Latios, offensive, and then you go and throw out a supportive set like this, and it can catch them off guard. So if you guys enjoyed the video, and that's how you use Latios.
What's up guys, Dimitri Vegas here. My brand new track 2 Times together with Steve Aoki is available now on TikTok, and I can't wait to see.
Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Groudon. Groudon, it's the other Hoenn Legendary, the physical counterpart, and the albeit a little weaker because of the typing Pokemon to Kyogre. Groudon is going to have 150 attack, 140 defense, 100 special attack, and 90 special defense. Same with the 100 hit points and 90 speed. So not ridiculously fast, but hits ridiculously hard. When it gets its primal reversion, it's the same thing. 180 attack, 160 defense, 150 special attack to keep it balanced, and then no change to the special defense, speed, or hit points. When we look at its typing, ground typing. Ground typing on Groudon isn't kind of fair because it's weak against water, which is what Kyogre is. So that's not good. Also, grass and ice weaknesses. The ice weakness could be a problem, but the electric immunity is nice, and the poison rock resistances, that's pretty good. However, when Groudon gets its primal reversion, ground fire becomes its new typing, which means it's just weak against ground, and because of the Desolate Land ability, it gets immune to water, so water would be a 4 times weakness. And now that obvious weakness that Groudon has had for many years suddenly goes away, and it gains a ton of resistances, so it becomes ridiculous when it gets its primal reversion on many defensive levels. Hopping into Pokemon Showdown, we get to see that Groudon, it's an interesting setup Pokemon that you wouldn't expect it, but it gets Rock Polish. Rock Polish means that you're going to get some ridiculously unexpected outspeeds. Like, I was thinking, well, we can invest around, 56 EVs, try to get to 230. Rock Polish is going to double that on its first usage, which means 460 speed. And that's a really nice place to be because that means you're getting some Scarfer outspeeds. That Choice Scarf Pokemon you can outspeed. You might even find some boosts that you can get over, and almost every unboosted Pokemon, so that's why we're in a good speed tier right now. And then you just kind of keep bringing it along. That Drought is going to boost Fire Punch, Earthquake is going to get Stab, your attack is already 150 in Adamant, and then since you're a legendary Pokemon boosting your hit points, you're definitely a 2-hit, 3-hit KO Pokemon, so you get that speed over your opponent, and you use that to sweep. That Stone Edge, high base power, lower accuracy, you can bring Rock Slide if you want to play like a bit safer. And then you just kind of look for the hits. Life Orb is going to boost your damage. GG. Now you can also go for something a bit more risky but has higher sweeping potential, and that's Swords Dance. That you run Swords Dance, Rock Polish, Citrus Berry. With the Citrus Berry, you're a 3-hit KO Pokemon under a lot of circumstances, as long as you're not getting blown up by super effective hits. And then Earthquake, Fire Punch, boom, good to go. Primal Groudon is also going to be very similar. That you can run Swords Dance, Rock Polish, you're just getting a boost to your defense, so against physically oriented teams, it's going to work better. And since Primal Reversion doesn't count against your Mega Evolutions, why not go for it? Now, Precipice Blades is really interesting because 85% accuracy, 15% chance to miss is kind of high and makes it to where it's not completely reliable. Earthquake has 100 base power, so a little less power and that perfect accuracy, so I'd say in singles, Earthquake is the better one, but in doubles, Precipice Blades does get a nice little touch that, since it damages all adjacent foes, it's not like Earthquake. Earthquake can hurt your allies as well, Precipice Blades doesn't, and since it has higher damage, it's not suffering as much from the split damage that happens in a double battle. So you can kind of go with that, but then, I'm looking more at the ability. Like with Kyogre, I feel that in double battle, you're looking at an outplay potential. The Desolate Land means that Camerupt Mega, it doesn't have that 4 times weakness to water, so now you can use that Heat Wave, you can get the damage out there. You can use Precipice Blades into Heat Wave, you endure the hits from your opponent, you're slower, but you're going to definitely return a KO or some kind of punish. And even in doubles, you might find a chance to, I wouldn't put Swords Dance, I'd have like Rock Slide here,